Good morning and welcome. It's Wednesday the 5th of June. And I want to welcome you to this live podcast, How to Fight CPS and Hang On to Your Children. This CPS agency that I call the CPS system, there's many names it's called in each of the different states, counties, but it's the agency that's a branch of social services that deals with protection of our children from abuse and neglect, and also to do family reunification. It seems the latter, they're not interested, and they seem that every child is in extreme danger, so they must take the child 99% of the time. That's wrong. And you're in this show or this podcast to get help, and I want to help you. I'm a family man, a father of 6, and been involved in CPS for 14 years. They're very corrupt. They are not there to help you. There really is to destroy you. They destroyed me. I tell you, I am still hurting from it. It's affected a lot of people. Now, I have a co-host. Right now, I'm trying to find out where my co-host is. Where are you, Danielle? She's from Georgia, and she's there. So I'm going to see if... Okay. I'm waiting to hear a response from her. But I have some housekeeping things I'd like to go over with you about this podcast. There are several ways that you can interact with this podcast. This is live, broadcast on YouTube, and I'm using the StreamYard application. And here to help you as best as I can. I'm really concerned about you people. Now we have Anthony 1922. I think you're new. Are you familiar with a nonprofit group called Are You the Power? They're trying to help families in Georgia and Florida with child abuse, pediatrician malpractice resulting in tearing up of families. No, I'm not familiar with Are the Power. I assume you're from Florida, which is great and welcome. One thing about comments is that when you are typing in a comment about your CPS question, your case, your friend has a CPS question, whatever it is, we like to keep it pertaining to CPS. Please show your name, city, state, and country, and be complete with your CPS case. Now, the reason why I say country is because so far I've had Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana, which is in South America, Mexico, Mozambique in Africa, and Denmark. Text messages in here about their CPS case and how tough it is. So I welcome you all, and I'll try my best to help you. All you have to do is show your name, city, state, or country code and be complete with your CPS case. Yeah, I will, Anthony. I will on there. Do you have a CPS question or concern? Because I welcome you here. Another way people can interact with this podcast is to call me off this phone at 626 698-0990. And I'd love to speak to you. I'd love to speak to you. So call in at 626-698-0990. That number is live during my show times. Now I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. One time at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for an hour, another time at nighttime at 7 p.m. for an hour Pacific Standard Time. The only exception is on Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So please call in during those times, and I gladly have you talk to the audience via my speakerphone. You won't be on camera, but you'll be there on your voice. Now, there's another way that you could interact with this podcast, and that is to contact my show producer, which is Grace. She works behind the scenes. She does a hard job, and I thank her for all she does. Anyway, all you have to do to email her is grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. I've already put it up there. And all you have to tell her is you want to be on my morning or afternoon Monday show, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You pick the day and you pick the time, and she will gladly try to accommodate you. So that's 14 different times or show times you can pick. And I'd love to have you live with me talking and hopefully helping out your case or help out somebody else. So those are the ways you interact with the podcast. Now, Archie Ma, I'm watching it from Liberia. Well, that's a new one. I am a scout. Thanks for providing appropriate ways of protecting our children from violence. Well, welcome, Liberia. That's great. We have a new country now, Liberia. And I know that you probably have a hard time with protecting your children there too. So if there's a question, feel free to ask me. So far with Anthony, that has talked about a CPS group called You Are the Power. Well, I found one thing that's interesting. Does CPS have too much power? Is CPS out of control? If so, what can be done to stop their abuse and power and still be able to protect our children from abuse? Yes, CPS is out of control. They took my daughter before she was barely 1 because of my mental illness. They had nothing on me except being angry, yet a foster mom got angry, and that was fine, but not okay. I get angry. I hate CPS workers. The only good CPS worker is a dead CPS worker. The abuse system is right. Well, that's a too negative. Nothing. You shouldn't be thinking about that. Another one here says CPS has too much power. The only court law. They're ripping our families apart. I agree. There is a lot to say in that. They are very not transparent. They're not your friend. They lie, they cheat, they use deception. Hi, Faye. I'm here. Hello. Hope all's going a good day. And yes, to all the above. I would love to share my story as a scout group leader, if possible, exist. I would also love getting some way of protecting children from harm or violence. Well, Archie, if you want to talk in, you can call in my number, 626-698-0990. I don't know if that'd be a charge from you from Libya, but maybe there's a stateside number that you could get and call from that number. But if you have a CPS question, go ahead and text it to me, Archie. And anyway, Faye, I'm here. We have somebody that has a Florida-based group called You Are the Power. I haven't found it yet. I found a group called You Are the Power, a nationwide group, but that is for other purposes besides CPS. Anyway, to all your listeners out there, I'm open for questions about CPS and anything I can help you out with. There's several rules I'd like to go over. I haven't talked about in the last couple of shows. The first one everybody needs is to find an attorney. And you say, why do I need an attorney? I can fight him. Well, the reason why you need an attorney is you're going to find the CPS is very, very, very bad. I mean, if my co-host was here, she'd put her pictures of the pink ladies. We're on the front of the T-shirt, and this is in Prescott, Arizona in 2022. It says we're professional kidnappers. And on the back, it says, do you know where your children are at? Those are all negative things, and that's what CPS mentality is. I have talked to one CPS worker, Carol from Maryland. She was great. She talked for 40 minutes, but I wish she'd come back and talk some more. She tells a different picture about CPS, and so far the people who talked from Maryland have said just the opposite. There's been about 3 people from Maryland. So they've told me it's so bad there. So with this rule number 1, I'm talking about getting an attorney because here's the example. If you need your heart worked on, are you yourself going to open your chest and work on your heart? Are you going to get a plumber? Are you going to get an auto mechanic to work on your heart? No, you get a professional doctor who's been to school, medical school, done an internship, and gotten a license, and has followed a mentor in the field to learn about how to do open heart surgery. Well, that's what CPS is too. They're so bad. I mean, if you can picture Alice in Wonderland, she's in the garden and she falls in the rabbit hole and ends up all these rooms and doors going to nowhere. That's what CPS is. It's a nowhere place. And they will trick you. They will retaliate against you. They don't like parents. They don't like grandparents. They don't like seniors. They don't like elders. They're really anti. They're anti. So I behoove you to find an attorney. Now, the attorney that you get in court, when the court appoints you an attorney, that attorney is not what I'm talking about. That attorney is, friends of the court, meaning they know the judge, they knew the social workers, attorneys. They're not going to work for you. They're going to try to settle the least resistant. And I'm sad to say they won't even meet with you ahead of time. So with a court-appointed attorney, you're wrong. I tried to use one, and it was worthless. I had to replace them so many times. It was a waste of time. And then I tried to fight on my own, and that still didn't work. So then I got an attorney, and then I finally got something to happen where I got my 2 of my 3 children back. Anyway, when you're searching for an attorney, and like anything else, you got to be careful when you paraphrase the words in the browser search. Now, you should start off with find in, and you want to give the location. Now, the location can either be the city or the county. If it's a smaller one, you need to ask a bigger city. I'm going to use example Georgia. Find in Athens and Atlanta, Georgia, a pro bono dependency attorney. Now, the reason why I say pro bono is because you're first trying to look at an attorney that will be no money out of your pocket, someone that will help you. There are attorneys that are around that will take on your case, but you have to do a lot of shopping around, So anyway, you're looking for find in Athens and Atlanta, Georgia, a pro bono dependency attorney. Now, hopefully you'll find a list of at least 10 names. You need to come up with at least 10. And if you only come with 10, that's fine. You can call them. If it's less, it's okay too. But you're going to call all 10, and you're going to ask them a couple questions. The first question is answered by them answering the phone that they're in business, because a lot of the firms listed in the web search are no longer in business. The second thing you got to find out is that, are they pro bono? Will they do it for no charge? And of course, the third thing is that, have they fought CPS? Have they fought CPS? Have they fought in dependency court? Have they won their cases? Are there anybody that you can check out the recommendations that you can talk to someone about there? And so what you've done is that you've felt out the law firm, and then they'll help you determine which of the 5 of the 10 that you're going to have a consultation with them. Now, I'm going to give you an attorney right now that'll have a consultation with you. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's the one that his company, Vincent W. Davis Associate, produces this podcast. Anyway, he is available. He will do a consultation charge for 30 minutes, which is a good time, for $60. That's 30 minutes for $60. And he will talk to you about the strategies of fighting CPS and how to get your children back. He's a trial attorney with 35 years of experience, and he has fought against CPS and won against CPS. He's also sued CPS both in federal and state courts, or federal courts, I guess you should say, state and federal courts. And he's won some funds there. So he's a good attorney to start off with if you're a group of 5 that you pick. But after you pick them all, you determine which one fits your financial things and which one is the most experienced. That's the fighter. And Vincent Davis is a fighter. He's been around a long time. So go through the attorneys, do the consultation, and hopefully you'll come up with a winner. If you do choose to stay and use your public defender, it will only frustrate you because they will not side with you. They won't defend you with the case, with the language that they used, and so forth. So that's, the simple thing to pick an attorney. And you'll see it's a lot easier. It is, but it's the work. It's the finding part that is the obstacle for a lot of you may have. But without an attorney, you will not get back your children. I never got back my daughter, and I had an attorney. But for a little while into the case, I was seeing my sons, and it got stricter and stricter. So the case can be really stupid. My case really was. So when you contact Mr. Davis, make sure you call in at 888-888-6582. That's 888-888-6582. That's his direct line. And tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And tell Mr. Davis when you do talk to him that Bob Pace has the information and will take care of you. So, Archie, I'm waiting for your next comment. Also, Anthony, I need a little bit more help locating that group in Florida. I'm trying to check this in Florida. Okay, so that's rule number one. Get an attorney, make your life easier. I didn't get an attorney. I tried to fight for myself, and I finally had to deal with the director who went in one year, went out the other year. And, they have enough money to build a building like the Taj Mahal in India. They built a building. And when I went up in it, I cannot believe who I met up there. That director, has nothing better to do than get money. And he had enough gold nuggets around his neck. I thought he was going to collapse over. So that takes care of rule number one. Now, rule number two is a simple rule. It's the paperwork of things. It's really important you keep track of good paperwork. Good paperwork. And what I mean by that is that you have lots of paper thrown at you and you need to organize it. And I find the best way to do so is a 6-inch 3-ring binder. Big, heavy duty 6-inch 3-ring binder. Then I want you to fill it full of college rule notebook paper. College rule notebook paper. And then they get some tabs. You need to get some subject tabs that you can divide your work up. The first one is going to be incidents. You want to have a tab called incidents, and there you record all your incidents with the date and the time and the people that are involved. Now, at first you may be scared. You want to have them, and that's fine. You can call back later on that question there. But going back to the paperwork of things, when you have the incidents, you put the date, the time, and the people that are involved on the first line. The next line could be 1 or 2 lines, so forth. Is going to be a description of the incident. Description of the incident. And third is you have the outcome of the incident. That may take some time. You may not have the outcome right away, but that may take some time. So that should be something good, because then you skip a couple lines, add the next incident, couple lines, next incident. And so 9 months or 2 years, you'll remember, because, I didn't do it. It was a bad mistake on my part, and I should have done the paperwork, but I didn't do it. Now, the rest of the subject tabs you can make different. You can have one that contains all your classes that you go to, all your monitoring programs that you go through. And then you can have one that now the other subject matters, you could have one for all the websites you found, all the links you found, the information tab. It could be everything you have come across in CPS, the web addresses, the phone numbers, the place you got. That's where you group it. Then another important subject tab is all your cases. You should have all your court documents. If you don't have them, go to the city clerk. They'll give it to you at no charge if you can show them your income. All you need to do is tell them what you make, and then they can go ahead and um, adjust it. So so now let's move on to rule number 3. Rule number 3 is an important one too. Rule number 3 is don't open the door to anyone. In fact, CPS and police should not be open to. Why? Because they'll immediately come in and say something wrong with your children, immediately take it. Or they go through your house and find something. You need to contact an attorney first before. All you need to do is tell them that you do not want them in your home and you do not want to talk to them. You don't have to talk to them. It's a yes/no answers that you could do with them. They're not your friend. They're not the friend of the family. They're to the motives. They want the $20,000 per month per child, for every year to the 18, and then they want to stretch the child who's in 18 with further services. So you got to keep track of the deadlines for things with your children. And so if a social worker comes knocking at your door, don't answer it. And I tell you, here's a mental picture. A black young man of 23 on May 3rd opened a door and he's immediately shot to death 5 times by a county sheriff, mistakenly thinking that he was doing civil disturbance in the apartment. Apparently it wasn't the case, but what proved is that the man that was the sheriff that was opening it or trying to open the door to get in should have announced his name. He did later on, but he should announce his day completely and why he's there for. And you could tell if the gentleman's there at the door, tell him to put your head down, your hands behind your back of your neck, and you can resolve it with him or her, I should say. But the best thing I'd see is that just not intimidate them, try to be courteous to them, ask them for their business cards or their position in court. And so, wow. Another part of not saying no is that you do not want to give them answers. You don't need to talk to them. It's a yes, no talking to them. Yes, no. And that being said, is that best place is not open your door, go to the better part of the house and hide in a closet, but don't answer them. That goes for police too. There's no reason they need to come in there unless there's immediate danger. And immediate danger is like maybe a child is being slammed against the wall or a child is being hit upon and it's all live, all current. And, definitely you have to intervene there. But just because someone is having hard times does not need to take a child away from the home. They need help. And a lot of parents are needing help. And I really want to help you all out there. It's a hard, harsh world out there. But I found that by talking to the social workers outside, it was easier. Again, I wish I knew the rules. I would have not been so talkative with the social worker. I was talking outside in the dark and saying what I was providing the children and so forth. They thought that I um, was negligent to my children because I had my family belongings in my home and I was sorting through them and so forth. And oh yes, yes. Mm. So, what are some other questions right now? I'm really curious about the Archie in Libya, who said that he was a scout leader and he wanted to share some of the CPS matters of violence. That's one thing. Verbal abuse is violence, and it should be not done in front of the children. You don't argue in front of the children. You use a timeout. You want to use a timeout. Now, rule number 3, after you say no, the same thing applies to police. Now, there's something also important about that. Rule number 3, there's medical trafficking. I already said there's child trafficking where CPS is trafficking your child into foster care. But there's medical because CPS hides at the doctors, and as soon as they hear a mother come in or a father come in with a child or both come in with a child, and he needs medical attention, the doctor and diagnostic, and then the family says, "Oh, we have religious concerns, but we'd like to consult our doctor and take care of the necessary needs." And so, that all being said and done, um, you should not let them take your child from your presence, especially if you're giving birth. A lot of social workers will come in and grab the child as soon as the birth because the mother tested positive for drugs. And so there's a lot of, you know, innuendos on this rule number 3 because you should not talk to social workers, you should not talk to policemen because they will just end up citing you a ticket and causing all kinds of negative heed to you as a parent. And that's what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to be a parent of your children. You love your children and you want to be that parent. You want to take good care of them. Now, this medical trafficking is where a child is taken away from the parents while they're in the hospital because they refuse something the doctor told them to do. Now, every parent has a right for their own medical beliefs about vaccinations and those kinds of things, and they're allowed to support it. Um, so, if you're pregnant and you're going to have a child, don't let them come in your room. Tell them to wait outside in the lobby. But they have to have something called a warrant. A warrant is a legal piece of paper that has your name and your address and what they attempt to do with your children. They also need to share with their pediatrician. They may want to go to the pediatrician. It's not life threatening. If it's life threatening, they would take care of it. But the social workers have a tendency to march in the room and take the child. Also, if you're giving birth and they've tested you to be positive and you found out that you're not really positive for the drugs they test, and it is so hard. It's so hard. Yeah, I'm still looking for that organization and it helps out in down the south that Anthony brought up. Faye, is there anything you want to ask or anything you want to say? You can call in if you like, Faye. I'd love to have you on the phone there. And Faye, by the way, is from Richmond, Kentucky. I think Anthony's from Florida, and Archie Mann is um, my WhatsApp app. I think is the same number as at 626. I think. Let me check there. Hold on a second. Let's see my WhatsApp app. Let me see. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I guess my WhatsApp's that number is. I'll have to have my office arrange that. I don't know if they're allowed to go on WhatsApp app there. Um, that doesn't help us with what you're trying to do them. So I'd like to tell you about something that's really important. Make sure that your case is registered at the state level. What it means by that, you need to contact the state and talk to the civil right coordinator or the ombuds person and ask them if your case, give them your case number and ask them if it's registered with the state. If it's not, the case can be closed. It's a simple fact that sometimes CPS workers forget and, I've been doing it a long time. So, uh, okay, can I get your app there? That's not available, Archie. My number is 626-698-0990. And I guess that is a toll number for you from Libya. Well, if you can text me your question, I can try to help you. So anyway, you want to make sure your case is registered at the state level. It's not, you can have the case closed, your children brought back. So you can have the case closed. Now, a 388 motion or a motion to have a hearing with new evidence or change of circumstances, you should initiate. You have to make sure all parties are served with this notice because you have to notify the children's attorney, the CPS's attorney, and notify the CPS workers that you want this hearing. The judge has to grant a hearing within 30 days if you establish new evidence or changes. Like, say, you finished your drug program or you got some other new evidence, you can go ahead and do that there. So that's what a 388 does. It may not be called a 388, but it's a motion to have a hearing with new evidence or changes in circumstances. That's where you get to go before the judge and do so there. ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, was passed. And what ICWA was is that after 100 years, over 100 years, they finally got it where the CPS are honest with Indian children. Before, they were taking the children solely for having them adopt out in foster care and not return the children back to the families. So a motion was made and passed that the CPS workers have to make attempts to contact your tribe to see whether you're registered or not registered. Also, they need to see your tribe about where they're going to put your child. It's going to be with one of the tribe's family members. They'll do it. So it's very important. Um, um, so that is important because they will take them and be raised by Indian family, not by CPS that will corrupt them and hurt them. See, that's the problem in my case. When I had my court case, I lost my job through no fault of my own in 2010. In 5 years, I had to put up with this harassment from CPS that we weren't taking care of her children. What it was, her in laws had called in and made up stories. And the problem with CPS, they believe everything is, they don't care if it's a story or not. They act on it. And 99% of the time, you're found guilty based on hearsay. It's by a layperson that uses a retaliation mode. And I'm sorry that it happened to you. I'm sorry that may have happened to you. It's CFA. I'm not sure, Bob, that's correct for all states. I asked Mr. Davis about that, and he said that the cases are automatically filed with the state. I guess so, but it's kind of interesting where Carol from Indiana said that was a loophole that she was trying to help us out on there. But yeah, I think it's true with all states because they get their funding from the state. The state gets it from the federal. But anyway, going back to ICWA, if you're a Native American Indian, please find a tribe that you think you're in or a member of and see if you can be registered. You don't have to be current registered. You can be registered. So it's not a done deal. It's something that might be helping you. And I think Indian families are more appropriate than foster care families taking care of a child. So much difference. So I've talked about ICWA, and I've talked about reporting it to the state. Talked about the 388 motion. What else out there that's good for you parents to know for topics? Remember that if the social workers are not a clinical therapist, they're not psychiatrists. Social workers are just a simple person. They don't have a college degree. They don't have been mentoring a social worker for any pinks of time, and they're entrusted with that weapon and able to kill someone so readily, easily. And so okay. So I was trying to read the comment there. Okay. So topics. Let me see what else. Let me see here. Okay. Another good topic is try to use the internet because there is your source. There's your source to win your case. Now, in my case, I didn't do that. I was bad. I did all the things against my rules that I've said shared with you guys that you need to have um, rules to go by. And see, my case was tough because it was allegations, and allegations are believed to be truth and honest. Um, the allegations are hearsay, but you're guilty until you're proven innocent, and it's so sad. And police and foster care will mimic. There's one girl on the show right here who was in young foster care, then grew up, had children in the foster care, and took her children. It's all about retaliation. It's about impressions with the CPS workers. They're very corrupt. They are not your friend. And my case was bad for it because my social worker lied underneath oath when they were trying to steal my daughter away from us by having her adopted by my wife's sister. And it was wrong what they were doing. It's so badly wrong. My whole case, as I relive it every day, I think about so many mistakes that are made, and I could be having my child back. Um, um, okay, now let me see here. Let me look at this other subject here. Let's see here. It seems like a lot of states have a list of attorneys. So I know that people sometimes say it's hard getting an attorney there. Um, but let me see here. I do like to go over the flow chart very careful with you, because there may be things that that's the wrong one. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Here we go. Try and get the flow chart so you guys can know the steps that your case is on. Well, this is not the right one either. Geez, I thought I had that one and I didn't have that. Let me see here. Okay, where in the world is it here? No. Oh. It's intake. Uh, there's one thing that comes up is the ICPC. It's the Interstate Compact on the Placement of Children. It's a neutral organization that supposedly handles the care and well-being of your child going from state to state. Special needs is where it's used. So it's a contract among member states and territories, authorize them to work together to ensure the children who are placed across state lines for foster care or adoption or additional children in need, special needs, and so forth. And you should be aware of them because there's one child who turned 18 while in the CPS's hands in another state. They forgot all about him, and he's a special needs, and he needs help to speak and so forth. And it's really sad because they forgot about a child turning 18, because you're 18, you're supposed to be on your own. You're supposed to be on your own. Let me see here. Oh, bother. I don't know where that went. I'm looking. Okay. There's something you should look at called the Family First Prevention Service Act, the FSSPA. Um, that is something that was enacted in the 80s of Clinton, and you should look at that about how to take care of your child. Each state has a hub of resources on here. Let me see here. Okay, let me see here. Ah. There's a form they want you to sign called the Freedom of Information Act. You got to be careful with that form because um, the public has a right to access agency records. Your government agencies as an agency records requested by a member of the public. So it's very important. You have a right to access your records through the Freedom of Information Act. It's very important that you see, because a lot of times they won't show you things. They'll hide reports from you and everything. Let me see here. Let me okay. How much time do we have left here now? Let me check here. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, we got about 8 minutes. You're probably wondering what happened in my case. For me, you're not. I was charged with neglect upon entering my home. They thought it was extreme danger that my parents' belongings that I was sorting downstairs were stacked and so forth, and my parents were dying, and I didn't have necessity funds to put everything in storage. So I was using the downstairs of my home to sort my family's personal belongings. They weren't endangering the kids or weren't up in their bedroom, but they went ahead and took them from school. And if I knew all the laws there, I would never let them do that. Also, they're not allowed at school because, or take your children because they got to be on that permission card. When you sign your child the first week of school, you fill out information. One of them is who the children can leave the school with and the permission you give. And so if they're not on there, they can't do so. So sometimes schools are tricked as well as parents are tricked. And I was really tricked bad. And I tried to fight my case myself or with a court appointed attorney, but it was going nowhere. I met with the director at the Taj Mahal building of his, or it looked like the Emerald City, the Green Emerald City. It was very gaudy. He just went in one ear, went out the other ear. He had so much gold around his neck, I thought he was going to fall over. But they were very mean to me, very deceiving to me. I went and finally got an attorney and to sell my home and get the money to hire Vincent Davis, and he got my boys back, but he didn't get my daughter back, even when the social worker lied on the stand. Because she told my daughter at age 12, you're going to divorce your parents, you're going to change your name, you're going to seal your birth certificate, and you're going to be adopted by foster care. My daughter just followed directions, and so that's what she did, and she divorced us. And that's sad. She's 21 now, and she was at my son's graduation, and I thought I could meet with her, but she was standish to me and her mother, which is sad because something happened. I don't know if she got molested in foster care or not, but she's not with the foster care people. That's another thing. There's so many horror stories about women and boys being molested, whether in foster care, whether with a CPS care. It does happen. You got to be careful of that. It's a terrible thing when an older adult takes advantage of a young child. That is wrong. That is totally wrong. They should be locked up. I tell you, there's too many people that are interested in children sexually and doing things. It's strange. Certain states even have a heavy index in the town, and it's sad. It really is sad. So everything like that is. Um, that's why probably you didn't get any calls. My call number's not working. I did not know that. It was working the last time I checked. Oh, geez. It's on. I don't know why people can't call in. Faye, could you try to call me? Faye, can you try to call me? I don't know why it's not working. All right. Okay, we have about 4 minutes, and I missed some messages here when I was talking. Let's go back up there and look at them. It just rang, Faye. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Now, Darlene Smith has called. She's on my show yesterday from Georgia. To take care of Maya case out of Florida is what is bringing a lot of corruption to the light. Knowledge versus Jonathan Hopkins. So, hello.
Hold on just a minute.
Yeah, who's this?
Are you there?
Yeah, who's this?
Okay. It's working now, but it wasn't working
I don't.
15 minutes ago because
Yeah.
you called it like 6 times.
Yeah, I don't know why. All I can say is the internet. Darlene was on the show last night, and she says her daughter was taken to a secret gynecologist appointment without my knowledge. Oh, geez, Darlene, that's terrible. Georgia DFCS thinks it's okay for nonverbal special needs female child to be transported by a male transporter alone. No, that's not right. That is terrible, Darlene. She was our guest on her show, Faye, and she opened up about her case. She has a special needs child that she's trying to get back, and they're so corrupt in Georgia in the same county that Danielle's in. So I'm sorry to hear that, Darlene. It seems like either the time is off or anything, but we're about 1 minute left here. I want to thank Darlene and you, Faye, for calling in. And I want to thank Archie, man, from Libya. We never got to hear about your incidents because he wanted to call in, but he wants a WhatsApp app. Anthony, who I think is from Florida, was talking about a support group that I wanted to find more information. But thank you all for calling in. God bless you all. I want you to have a good day. And I will see you tonight at 7 p.m. This is Bob Pace signing off. God bless you.